Hey guys, welcome to a new video. I wanted to do today's video as kind of a continuation to yesterday's video. Yesterday I posted a video about artificial intelligence with print on demand. You guys saw how I used the tool. I wrote a prompt. It was on DALL-E 2, wrote a prompt, photo came up, and basically I talked about why I wouldn't use it for print on demand. And at the same time, guys, we do a lot of different review videos. And I don't want to say review videos, but maybe not a lot, but we did a significant amount. Obviously, nothing to be played with. Review videos on Redbubble shops. And what I would do is I would go in and I would go really in depth to review people's stores. And I'll talk about like what they have to do to get to their income goal. If you guys are familiar with that, I would recommend checking out the DIY, or you're not familiar, check out the DIY Income Tutorials channel. We've posted 5 videos so far about like not Shopify. My mind is always on Shopify because I'm always working on my Shopify stores. But five Redbubble stores we've been doing reviews to. The thing about these reviews, and maybe the thing that I missed out and I maybe haven't said before, and I feel like I've said this before on the YouTube channel. For sure, I must have. Maybe you guys can correct me, but especially for the ones who watch consistently. But I've definitely said this before. But I want to talk about like the design quality on Redbubble or just any print on demand. A lot of the times, the first thing you want to keep in mind is you want to adapt to what makes sense on the platform, and I'll explain what I mean. There are certain platforms with certain types of, I don't want to say demographics, but it's kind of niche, and I'll explain what I mean. On Zazzle, for example, and I'll pull up in incognito Zazzle tab here. Zazzle is a website. I've been on it for a while. I would say a little over a year. And Zazzle was a place where you can customize things, right? So for me personally, if I'm uploading, let's use this picture as an example, right? If I'm not a creative individual and I know that I have to customize products, me personally, I wouldn't even waste time uploading it to Zazzle. Now, is that a mistake? Kind of, because you can potentially make money off of it. However, I'm aware that the way Zazzle works is that Zazzle, you can customize certain products on Zazzle, right? So for example, if I need wedding cards because I'm going to get married and I have 200 people I need to invite, which that's a lot of people, but you get my point. If I have to invite 200 people, then I'm going to buy, let's say, 250 wedding invitations that are custom, and I need to add my name, the bride and the groom, the date, all this, the location, all these kind of things. It has to be customized, right? At least that's how people do things here in America. Sometimes. Not speaking for everybody, but you get my point. That's why these products exist. It wouldn't make sense for me to take something like that, or that concept of that product, and put it on Redbubble and expect for something like that to make money, because it's not a customizable product on Redbubble. Redbubble doesn't allow you to customize things. Now, maybe it would be pretty cool if Redbubble could do that. I mean, that would be pretty awesome, and maybe they would make more money as a company, but at the end of the day, Redbubble is the largest out of all these print-on-demand companies, aside from Merch by Amazon, of course. But my point is what I'm trying to say is these demographics, these niches, these differences, these very, very obvious differences between certain platforms make certain things non-ideal. So that's the first thing. So the first thing is just at least the way I look at it, and I tell myself all this time, is adapt to the platform. I'm not going to be able to change the platform. I'm not going to be the striker, if that makes sense. I'm not going to be able to change the way the waves are moving. I have to move with the wave. So that's the first thing, right? Is adapt to the platform and create the right type of content for that specific platform. So in the case of Redbubble, I could upload content like this. It's perfectly fine, right? I wouldn't take content like this and put it up somewhere else. But this is really what I want to talk about, which was design quality. And a lot of the times I get, this question over and over and over again. Do my designs look good enough and things like that. And the way I look at it is the design, and we're talking in a non-metric point of view, without any kind of metrics or measuring or comparing of analytics or data, the design that you're uploading, in order for it to really get a sale, it needs to just be buyable. Meaning somebody needs to look at it and say, you know what? I can buy this product. Every single picture that I'm seeing here, somebody can buy, right? This is just an example. When you are building your products on Redbubble and you're trying to make money, ask yourself, is the product buyable? Will somebody out there likely buy it? And I think a lot of the times, for the people who aren't making any money on Redbubble, if you're looking at your account and you're not sure what the answer to that is, then it's probably not viable. And honestly, majority of people watching this, I believe, have viable designs. I believe that to be the case. Now, it might be on the lower end of the spectrum, but just as in a quick example, you can head over to the DIY Income Tutorials channel, and we have reviewed literally more than 5 stores, because there was certain videos with more stores, and we actually point out stores that have viable art, and some of them aren't. Like just the last store, I pointed out a store that I really wouldn't necessarily buy art from that specific store, right? So it's good to be realistic about how your art looks like to the world. And something that I also would say in the past that I'm actually wrong about now, and I admit that I'm wrong, is that a lot of the times I would say, you know, if you yourself wouldn't buy that design, then don't sell it. And I was wrong about that. And I'm wrong about that in 2 ways. The first thing I'm wrong about is when I say if you yourself wouldn't buy the product, don't sell it. Let's just put myself in this person's shoes, this person who created this store. Me personally, with the life that I live, I would not be buying any of these stickers. Does that mean I shouldn't necessarily sell it? The answer is no. So I was wrong about that. These products are buyable. So sell them, right? As long as the product is buyable, that's kind of my spectrum that's changed. The second thing is, at the same time, is just because I'm not willing to buy something doesn't mean somebody else will. That's the second thing, right? Just because I'm not going to buy a picture of a fish or a sticker or whatever on a t-shirt, whatever, doesn't mean that somebody else won't. Maybe somebody is really, really obsessed with betta fish and they love having fish and all these kind of stuff, and he or she might buy betta fish merch, betta fish stickers, betta fish, whatever the case may be, right? Laptop cases, whatever the case may be, iPhone cases. I would also say that just because you would buy something inversely doesn't mean somebody else will. And that was also another aspect of what I'm trying to say here with this quote-unquote buyable design concept. If you look at the review, there was a review video we did just recently. There was this art that I personally did not, most people would think it's not buyable. Like, there was this one shirt that said, I can't exactly remember what it said, but it was something that just didn't seem like the right terminology to say in common day world. It was something like, I love my mommy or something on a t-shirt design. It was like a design. It said, I love my mommy. And I thought to myself, the only group of people who would really buy something like this is somebody who's looking for like baby clothes. Like for their kids or something, like a baby, like we're talking a baby that's nursing. You know what I'm saying? Not really an adult. It would just be weird if an adult wore something like that. But the point is that if something is buyable to you, it does not necessarily mean that it's going to be buyable to everybody else. There are some designs that you might think are amazing, tremendous, beautiful, but they really are the worst things out there to the niche. It's just, you know what it is you really have to compare your artwork compared to others. And the reason why I had to think introspectively of this, and I know I'm even talking about this, I know it might sound like something that might seem obvious, but when I was working on creating my own designs, this was way before I even started uploading on a daily basis, I said, okay, if my goal is eventually to really dominate on Redbubble, meaning really walk away with significant income, I have to create a system. I have to create something to where I don't have to necessarily think every day about what I'm doing, and I just have to do it to where if I told a machine to do it, or if I told an assistant to do it, or whoever to do it, it wouldn't be difficult for them to do it. And the whole concept of the courses that I created, you guys are familiar with the POD design course, the Redbubble tag course. When I hire somebody to work for me, like a virtual assistant, I make sure they take the course and I make sure they watch it over and over and over again. And I pay them to do that. This is not something that's not paid. Like, for example, if I'm hiring you tomorrow, I will tell you your job for this whole week is to watch the course over and over and over and over again until the week is over. The reason why and I'm paying for them for that time. The reason why I do that is because this is the training that I expect. And I created certain systems. Now, speaking of designing, for everybody who's familiar, who took the POD design course, I have a specific system as to how I create these designs. Now, when I talk about these designs, I'm not referring to the images that I upload. On days where I don't feel like designing, then I use the images and things like that. Or maybe on certain days where I have a certain niche going on or certain category going on, I'll use this tool. Now, for those who don't know what this tool is, it's literally just a tool that you can access that gives you copyright-free images that are royalty-free, that you're legally allowed to resell, put on products, do all that kind of stuff, right? Like, I can have it printed on a mug and print and shipped out, or I could just take the image and actually sell it to somebody else, right? So my point is I use this software on days that I don't want to design. But when I do want to design, right? And I'll just show you guys how the software works while I'm talking. When I do want to design, I will have a specific system. And you guys, everybody who's taking the course know what system I'm talking about. I have a specific system that makes it ridiculously easy to create large amount of designs in bulk. Now, I want to go ahead and make some things clear. The designs that I'm doing, there's not like an element where there's only one difference, meaning a lot of people think I'll take one design and then just change the colors and then call that 10 different designs. That is not the case whatsoever. Every single one of our designs fit different niches and fit different categories, meaning I might take a design and I'm just creating design after design with the method that I have. One might be in XYZ niche, the other one might be in ABC niche. It's different niches and different categories every time. And then what happened is, and this is really what my strategy is I'll keep doing that system every day, until there are certain days where I objectively gotten sales, not from Instagram, but through organic. Now, when I say organic, what I mean is through search. I'll check the analytics. I will check where that visitor came from, and you can actually pay for different things that can allow you to do that. You can connect your Google Analytics to different softwares that will pay for you to do that, but regardless, that's like kind of like outside of the scope of field of what we're talking about here on print on demand, but you get my point. So what I do is I'll track where the individual comes from. Do they come from Google? Do they come from Instagram? Do they come from direct? Where do they come from exactly? Do they come from an ad? Where do they come from? And I'll reverse engineer the process. If I get sales from Instagram, then all I know is I'm just boosting up the ranking of that listing. It doesn't necessarily mean that they found that product organically. So I'll forget that. I'm not going to create more versions of that. I'll just leave that alone. But if I have a sale that I created, a design that I specifically created from a specific organic search or a direct link or something like that, that it was obvious that that person found the product in an organic manner in the first step, well, in that case, I'm not going to waste time. I'm going to figure out how I can create variations of it, and not just color, but it could be something as basic as font. It could be something as the text. So just a quick example, and and by the way, we just downloaded a photo just to show you guys what I'm talking about in this software that I use, just to give you guys an idea of the stuff that I'm using here. You could see this is a very high definition photo of a picture of a horse. You take a photo like this, you put it on a canvas, sell it on eBay, that might end up at a doctor's office. It might end up on a, just a whole bunch of different scenarios. I mean, it's a great photo. It's something neutral. It's buyable. It looks good, right? But like I said, when I'm not in the mood to design, that's what I go for. But anyways, or if I don't have time, that's what I go for. Because I'm saving like half hour. It takes me a half hour to create 60 designs, sometimes even less than a half hour, but you get the point. But regardless, back to what I'm saying is I will create different variations. It could be different variations in text, different variations in fonts, different variations in colors, and even in design itself. A good example of this is in the DIY Income Tutorials YouTube channel, when we did the review of this store that literally had over like 6,000 designs, which was this one. They had the person who was doing it, shout out to her, her name is Kelly Whitman. She was creating these designs that I said, if this design sells, you can literally create 100, 200, 500 different alterations of this, but make it so different in a way to where it draws you in as a consumer, where you end up buying it. And I'll give you an example. Something that is not drawing an individual in is, I'll give you, like, if you create a design, let's just create a design, let's just type in the word faith. I'll give you an example, okay? This keyword, this right here, faith, all right? This design could literally be created over at least 10 times with different colors. That's not a design that necessarily draws you in. Yes, it might create more sales, but it doesn't mean necessarily that it draws you in. I'm talking about if you took a whole different approach to the design, not just color, right? A lot of the times when people think I do 60 designs a day, they think I take one design and then I change it into 10, 20 different colors, and then that I call that, 20 different designs, and that's not the case whatsoever. And if that was the case, that would be a waste of time. It's like, what's even the point? If you know that the design hasn't made money yet, why would you sit there and create more variations of it? It's just irrelevant. It doesn't even make sense. But regardless, my point is basically, if you want to make sure that you're going to make money on Redbubble, and I've said this before, but your designs cannot be lower than average quality. A good way to do that is just simply look at what's being sold. If I look at here, if I search the keyword faith, and I just look at the different types of things that exist, I just have to make sure mine is not low average quality. Now, granted, there's a whole lot of different scenarios and different, just a whole different, a lot of different things. But now I wouldn't necessarily create it in the faith niche because there's a lot of artwork now, 383,000. But you kind of get my point, especially when there's a smaller niche. It's much more clear. It's easier to understand things like that when you're seeing these things. When you move on to create designs, like I said, don't create something that's obviously below average quality. Like if you're not having, transparent backgrounds, if you're not fitting the product, the design of the product properly, all these things come into play when it comes down to your sales. And don't think that a small thing you might change could have a huge impact on your business. It absolutely could. So keep that in mind. And hopefully this video was just a little, maybe just a vision shift for some people, because you might really just need to take a deep look at what you're creating. Sometimes it's really that simple. It's, it could make a huge difference in your business, all right? I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out. Bye.